Hi second graders, Miss Scarlato here, and I am going to talk you through your second grade trimester 3 summative assessment. This is just a little mini quiz about all of the things, not all of them, but many of the things we've learned in music this year. So your teacher is going to pass out a packet that looks like this, second grade written assessment. It is 3 pages total. Please make sure you write your name and class on page number 1. You will need a pencil, an eraser, and a clipboard. So get all of your materials, and you need to spread out around the classroom. You need to be working in your own space. You should be in a place where only you can see your paper and nobody else can. There should be nobody that's behind the door or behind the column that's by the door. You should be in a place where your teacher can see you. If you want to lay on your stomach, that's fine, but you need to be in a place where you are far away from your classmates and your friends, and your eyes will only be on your paper. So go ahead and pause the video and get set up with your test, your name on your test, your clipboard, pencil, eraser, and a spot in the room where you can be by yourself. Alright, once you're settled, let's talk through the test. The very first page where your name is on it, you'll be doing this part on your own. There are 2 parts to this test. There are parts that you will work on your own independently, and then the room should be quiet at that point. And then there is 1 page that we will do together as a class, because I need to sing the patterns for you. I need to play them for you. There will be a little bit of singing and clapping that you will do in response. But those parts on page 2, which looks like this, you've got your 5-line staves right here that you'll write out your pitches, and then we've got our beat bars where you're going to write out your rhythms. This page we will do first because we will do it together as a class. Then you have 1 more page, which is this chart right here that's got all of our rhythms and sounds and beats. I'll explain that to you later. But for now, let's start together on this page. So flip to the second page after you've put your name on your test. So if you look at the first staff, you'll see that do is on space number 1, mi, its copycat, is on space number 2, sol is on space number 3, and then you've got la and re. Re on line number 2, la on line number 4. For each of these patterns, I will tell you what your first note is, and you can go ahead and write down your first note. So for this first pattern, your first note will be do. So go ahead right now with your pencils. You can draw in a little note head on do so that your staff will look like this. So I will tell you the first note is do, and then I will sing the pattern. I will both sing the pattern and play it for you on recorder many times. But before I play the first one for you, let's just warm up our voices and kind of get our ears ready to do this. I will sing and I want you to copy me. Do, re, mi, copy. Do, re, mi, sol. Sol, la, sol. Sol, mi, re, do. Do, sol, do. Do, re, mi, re, do. Alright, so here is your very first pattern of 3. As I told you, it starts on do. So I will sing it for you, and then I will play it for you, and you can write it down. If you need to hum or sing it in do's quietly to yourself, that's fine, but please make sure that you're not saying the answer out loud in solfa. Again, this is a test, it is individual work, and everybody needs to be working on their own, and they shouldn't hear anybody else giving them the answer. So here's the first one. Do, 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 do. If you want to sing it in do's, just like I did quietly to yourself, you may. Otherwise, just quietly write that pattern down. Here it is again. Do, 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 do. Don't worry about the rhythm. All you need to write down is the dots for the notes. Do, 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 do. I'll sing it for you one more time and play it for you one more time. Do, 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 do. All right, finish up the first pattern, and here is the second pattern. Your teacher needs to pause it to give you a couple more seconds of time, that's fine. Here is pattern number 2. It also starts on do, so write do down first. Do, 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 do. So again, it starts on do. Here it is again, singing. Do, 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 do. I'll play and sing it for you 4 more times total. Do, 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 do. If it helps, you may want to break the pattern into 2 parts. The first part, do, 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 and then the second part, do, do, do. Do, 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 do. And here's last time on the recorder. Take about 30 seconds to finish up number 2, and then I will play number 3 for you. Alright, so here's the third sol fa pattern that I'll play for you and sing for you. This one starts on sol. So find space number 3 and write a note in space number 3, and that is sol. That is what the pattern starts on. So here it is sung first. Sol, do, 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 do. This one may also be helpful to think of in 2 groups. The first group, sol, do, do, and then the second group, do, do, do. Here it is on recorder. Sol, do, 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 do. I'll play it and sing it for you 4 more times total. Sol, do, 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 do. last time on recorder. Take about 30 seconds to finish your work. Your teacher can pause this video if you need to. Alright, so now we're going to switch from singing sol fa pitch mode. We're going to switch over to rhythm mode with that. That's with your tas, titis, tika tika twos, rests. And I am going to play for you a few rhythm patterns, 4 of them, on my drum. And you are going to write them down. So where it says number 4, write out the rhythms clapped by your teacher. I'm actually going to play them for you. And you'll see each of those beat bars, there are 4 for letter A, 4 for B, and 4 for C, and 4 for D. Each of the patterns I play you will have 4 beats. So that means that there needs to be a note on each of those beat bars, unless it's a 2, in which you tie the 2 beat bars together. So for example, this is just your warm-up. Don't write this down. If I played this for you, super easy rhythm that you were able to do in 1st grade. I'm going to play it again. Go ahead and say out loud what that rhythm would be. And go. So that rhythm would be ta, 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 ta. And you would write down 4 tas, 1 for each of the beat bars. Here's one more warm-up. Again, don't write this one down. This is really easy. Think about what that would be. Speak the answer. So it should be ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. And so you would write ta in your 1st beat bar, ta in your 2nd beat bar, ti, ti in your 3rd beat bar, and then ta in your last beat bar. So those were just warm-ups. You shouldn't have any of them written down. Here is your 1st pattern. If you need to tap it on the floor or clap it quietly to yourself, that's fine, but please don't say any of the rhythm syllables out loud. This should be independent work. You are listening and writing down the rhythms that you hear. Here it is again. I'll play it 4 more times for you. Here I go. Ready? Here I go. Here's number 3. Ready and go. We talked about the dot trick in class, putting a dot down for each of the sounds that you hear under the beat bars and then going and adding the rhythm later. If that dot trick works for you, go ahead and try that out. I'll play it for you 2 more times. So if you're doing the dot trick, try it now. Here I go. Once you've written down your dots, then just fill in the lines for each of the rhythms. Here's the last time for letter A. Here it is. Alright, so take a couple seconds, put your finishing touches on letter A. Here is letter B, your next rhythm pattern. Again, 4 beat bars. Each beat bar should have a note on it. Here I go. I'll play it a little bit different way to see if this helps you out. Here's letter B again. Here I go. Letter B again. I'll play it the original way now. I'll play it for you 3 more times. Here's number 1. Number 2. And number 3. Alright, so put your finishing touches on letter B. Take a couple seconds, and then we're going to move on to letter C. Alright, letter C is one of the ones we practiced in class. There are 2 possible answers for letter C. I don't want to give away too much of the answers, but you remember what that means when we did the 2 possible answers for what letter C could be. So here is letter C. Here I go. Here's the second time for letter C. I'll give you a hint. The part where there are 2 possible answers occurs in the first beat. And I will accept either of the 2 answers. Here's letter C. Remember, there should be a rhythm in each of your beat bars, unless it's a 2, in which you will draw a line connecting the 2 beat bars where the 2 happens. Here's letter C. I'll give it to you 4 more times. Again, letter C. Here it is. Ready and go. Two more times for letter C. Ready and go. And the last time for letter C. Ready and here I go. Alright, I'm going to do it one more time, and I would like everybody to check their work by pointing. I want you to point at each of the beat bars as it goes by. So point at 1, 2nd beat bar, 3rd beat bar, 4th beat bar. And as you listen to the sounds that I play, I want you to check and count. Make sure there are the exact number of sounds that I play on each of the beats as you tap them. Last time for letter C, everybody point your finger on beat 1, first beat line. Here we go. Take about 30 seconds to finish writing letter C out. Alright, here is letter D, your last rhythm. Again, this one has 2 possible answers. And you need to make sure that there are, again, rhythms in each of your beat bars, unless it's a 2 and it's tied over. Here's letter D. Here I go. A great way to follow along and to check for any rests is to use your pointer finger and follow along on each of the beat bars as I play. So try that this time. Point your fingers up. Here we go. I'll play it a little bit different way. This might help you. It's the same rhythm, just a little bit different sounding. Here I go. I'll play letter D for you 4 more times. Here's the first time. Second time, here I go. Third time, ready and go. last time, if you're already finished, check your work, point your fingers up, ready, following along as I play. Here I go. And that was letter D. Take about 30 seconds to put any finishing touches you need to on these written rhythms. You can pause the video if you need any more time finishing your rhythms. Otherwise, I'm going to explain the rest of the test to you, and for the rest of the time, you will have independent work time. So this means that the room should be silent. Still, everybody's eyes should be on their own papers, but you are working independently at your own pace at this point. So if you flip to the very last page, it is the page that has this chart with sounds, beats, and each of your rhythms. We've practiced this in class, so this should be familiar to you. But what you need to do is in each of those empty boxes, you need to write a number. So let's start with sounds. You remember that when we figure out how many sounds something has, we clap that word or that rhythm, and we count the number of claps. That will tell us how many sounds. For example, if we speak and clap tika tika, tika tika, you count the number of claps, and that would be the number that you write under that tika tika for sounds. So sounds are clapping each of the rhythms and telling us how many sounds each rhythm gets. And for beats, beats means you are keeping the steady beat on your lap. And when you're keeping the steady beat, you are trying to figure out how many steady beats each of those rhythms get. So keep the steady beat on your lap, say ta, figure out how many beats it gets. Keep the steady beat on your lap, say two, and see how many steady beats that note gets. Then write that note, or that number, underneath the note in the beat row. Okay, so again, sounds are the number of claps a rhythm gets. Beats are the number of steady beats that a rhythm gets. Okay, so you can work on that chart independently. And then flip to the front page of your test. This is the page that has your name written on it. It has this chart right here with the words and the rhythms, and then it's got this poem, Deedle Deedle Dumpling, that you know. First thing you need to do, number 1, says speak and clap each word and put it under each rhythmic category. So you see where it says words, and then there's a list of words underneath. Deedle Deedle, Dumpling, My Son, John, and the rest of them. What you need to do is clap each of those words and figure out what rhythm goes with those words. So figure out how many sounds each of those words gets, and then figure out which rhythm it goes under. So for example, the first one, deedle deedle, clap deedle deedle, figure out how many times you clapped, and then figure out which rhythm fits best with that word. Then write that word, or in the case of deedle deedle, it's 2 words, deedle deedle. Write that word or those 2 words underneath the rhythm in the chart that shows which rhythm it is. Then once you finish that chart, you can move on to number 2. In number 2, we have the poem that you all know. Deedle deedle dumpling, my son John went to bed with stockings on. 1 shoe off and 1 shoe on. Deedle deedle dumpling, my son John. And what you need to do is on the beat bars above each of the words, once you figure out how many sounds each word has and what rhythm it is, you need to write the rhythm above the word on the beat line. So again, we'll start with the first one, deedle deedle. Once you figure out what rhythm that is, you need to write that rhythm, ta, ti, ti, tu, rest, tika, tika, whatever it is. You need to write that above deedle deedle on the beat line. Then go on to the next word, speak and clap dumpling. Figure out what rhythm that is based on how many sounds it gets, and draw that rhythm on top of the beat bar on dumpling. So for number 2, you should, by the end, you should have written in the rhythms for the whole poem based on each of the words, how it's laid out for you. So now you will have independent work time. Work on the first page, work on the last page, the sounds and beats chart. And when you are done, please put your pencil down and wait quietly. When the whole class is finished with their test, your teacher will collect the papers from you and you will put your materials away. When you are done, please don't raise your hand and say, "I'm done," or run over to your teacher and say, "I'm done, here you go." Just quietly put your pencil down. You can flip your paper over so your teacher knows that it's done, and just wait patiently until your classmates are done. Then your teacher will collect them all and give them to me. When the whole class is done with their test, if there is extra time in class, we will use that time to have work time on your compositions. Thank you, and I look forward to reading and seeing everything you've done today. Bye.